Okay, so I've put a decent amount of hours into Breakpoint. Now it's time for me to do a full game review. What I've done is I've written down a list of the negatives and positives because I do see both sides of the story, and I want you to leave your thoughts in the comments about this, whether they are negative or positive, but only if you've actually had hands-on experience. I don't care if you've watched a million YouTube videos. I don't want my opinions to change your mind about anything. I want to know from you personally what you think of this game, whether it's good or bad. But now I'm going to go into what I personally believe. There are so many people being abusive towards me. People are being racist in communities. People are taking it way too far, being toxic. And there's so much hate being spread about this game. So I wanted to clear everything up that I believe. And then I wanted you guys to discuss in the comments with me, with other players from the community and stuff like that. Just get discussions going as to what you think. Basically, I believe this game deserves a lot more credit than it's getting. So I want to do everything to pinpoint what's good and what's bad so that everyone understands it from someone that's put a decent amount of hours into it. Granted, other players have put more hours in, some people haven't touched it. But let's start my side on the negatives. The first one is the fact that it's an online-only game, even for single player. So if your internet's down, if the servers are down, you can't touch it. That's a very big negative because I want to be able to play the game that I've purchased, even if my internet's not up and running, even if the servers go down for the game. I don't think there's a way for them to change that now. I really wish there was, and I really wish they would change it. Then we have the graphics. They're not so much a negative, but I mean, it's 2019. We're a year away from PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet, which are going to feature like SSDs. They're going to be capable of 8K gaming. And a year before that, the Xbox One, PCs with the RTX 2080 Ti, i9 processors, stuff like that. You've got the PS4, and that's got some decent hardware in it too. We should be receiving better graphics. I mean, the graphics aren't appalling, but they're definitely, like, they're far from the best. Some of the animations and mechanics can be seen as a negative because they seem broken. If you're like falling down a cliff, sometimes you'll end up 5 feet away from the cliff and you'll be floating mid-air. Animations on the rockets, when you have a rocket launcher enemy, they fire the rocket, they'll have the correct trajectory, but the rocket itself will be vertical instead of horizontal, and there's just no path into it. Like, it's just pretty much a straight line for a rocket. Then some of the mechanics, like the driving mechanic, is improved a lot since the beta, in my personal opinion, but they could do with a tiny bit more work, because when, like, for an example, you're in the chopper and you're flying forward, it's nice and smooth. You try flying left and right and the chopper just, it seems stuck. It's really, really stiff to get it to move left and right. And I mean, like, actually strafing it left and right, not trying to turn it around, because it does turn around quite smoothly. Rotation is what I mean. Voice acting. Some of the voices do seem lazy. It doesn't seem as though they've worked on them to the best of their ability. Bugs, as we've spoken about with other people's reviews, there are some bugs in the game, but they're not game-breaking. It's not going to ruin your experience. If anything, it will add to the entertainment. If a mission bugs out, because there is a mission, the only mission for Walker, the character, he has drones above his head that make him immune to damage. Sometimes you can go into that room and the drones won't exist, so you'll just, when you put bullets into Walker, it will be like you're shooting glass. But all you've got to do is retry from the last checkpoint, possibly run 600 meters or something, but you go back in and it's fixed. There's nothing game breaking, but there are a decent amount of bugs. John Bernthal, or Walker in the game, was used as a big selling point, but there is literally one mission designed around Walker. You have other bosses that stem off Walker, but Walker was a selling point for the game, and there is literally one mission. You don't get to see him that often in this game. Night vision is pointless. When you enable it, it pretty much just puts a green filter over your screen. There's no depth to it, and it doesn't seem to be that beneficial. If you walk into a dark room, you could even have a better time without your night vision enabled. And then I don't think this is make or break for the game, but I would like to see the ability to hip fire whilst you're sliding down a mountain. When you're sliding down a mountain, you still have your crosshair on the screen, you're sliding, you eventually start rolling. But even if you're at the top, you've literally just started sliding down before you do the rolling part, you can't fire your guns. I see that as a negative because I'm pretty sure if there's an enemy next to you in real life, even if you're rolling down a mountain, you're going to try and shoot them. And not just that, a lot of hills force sliding down them randomly. Like, sometimes you could be on an edge of a cliff that's not even that vertical, but you just end up sliding down anyway. And that's pretty much all there are for negatives. There's possibly a couple more, but I can't think of them to write them down, so they can't be that important. So now we're into the positives. There is so much to do in this game. It's unbelievable. People are complaining left, right and centre. Oh, the open world seems empty. What you need to remember with that is you are in Aurora. You are on enemy territory. The entire island is locked down. So the only people you're going to see there are enemies. And you'll have the workers, the people that are working for them. It's like a facility island. But people are complaining it's empty, there's empty forests and stuff. There's not. There are literally, you walk 50 meters or sometimes like 250 meters or whatever, you're going to see another enemy patrol. But there is so much to do in the game, from faction missions, side missions, main missions, taking down compounds for weapons and different attachments and stuff like that. There's PvP, we've got the raid coming soon, we've got episodes that are coming out which might be negative because I'm going to say that because Division 2 haven't done the best with their year 1 pass and the episodic content. But whether or not that's good or bad, there are going to be episodes with new events coming, like we have the Terminator event coming at some point. And I did a 6-hour stream recently when me and my mate Con were trying to focus on doing main missions. We got 2 done in that 6 hours, because when you're travelling to a main mission, they're like 9 times out of 10, you're going to be sidetracked and distracted by other things you can do in the world. You have guided and discovery modes, so if you want the game to feel more realistic, you actually have to go and find intel for yourself and discover things. You can play it that way. Or if you want an objective to be pinpointed for you, you can turn on guided mode so that it makes it easier. That's how I play because I enjoy it that way. But I like the fact that there are the differences so that you have different types of immersion and it caters for people being able to play the way they want to. PvP is team-based. I'm not the biggest fan of PvP, I don't play it too much, but they focused heavily on it being team-based, and I love that because I find it better working in a team than I do solo when I'm playing PvP stuff. And if you're playing something like Battlefield or Call of Duty, like everyone's just run and gun, they're going in for kills for themselves, get the highest KD. You're going to have a much better experience if you're playing as part of your team because that's how this PvP is built. I've spoken about this in my tips and tricks video for this game. You can change your appearance without being forced to change to worse gear that you're using. So a lot of games, if you pick up gear and it's a higher gear score, it's more beneficial for your build. It might not look the best and you're forced to switch that over. On this game, it doesn't matter what you want to have on your build. You can literally go into the customize section. You can wear whatever clothing you want. You go and pick up, you manage to find yourself some ghillie trousers. You can literally switch to them and wear them without having them equipped on your character. You can use whatever weapon you want to, as long as you find the blueprint. Like literally, if your favourite gun is the 5.16, go and find the blueprint. Doesn't matter what gear score you are at, you can craft it again and again and again and it will keep up. So whatever gun you favoured, find the blueprint, you can keep crafting it as long as you've got the credits and stuff for it. It will level up with you if you keep crafting it over and over again. And not only that, but if you find your first ever 5.16 in the game and you level it up to Mark 3, every single 5.16 you get in the game from then onwards will automatically be Mark 3. The battle tier system cannot be skipped with a microtransaction purchase. You see a lot of season passes, Fortnite, PUBG, Rocket League even does it now. There's so many. You can buy tiers. You can purchase them with real life money. This one you can't. You actually have to grind through faction missions which are daily. Level it up, you get some nice rewards, choppers, bikes, guns, the gold camo, and stuff like that, but you don't have to purchase it, and I think that's an amazing thing for a system like that. Another thing I like, I don't know if everyone will, but the different close quarters combat or the CQC weapons actually have different animations. If you have a basic knife, you might go up behind an enemy, slice their throat and then stab it into their chest a few times. Whereas if you put on one that you've purchased from the shop or you got from an Ultimate Edition or something like that, you might let the enemy, because with one of them I was using, an enemy headbutted me, I then pushed him away, spun round, sliced his leg or something so that he went to the floor and then like sliced his throat. Different things like that. There's different animations for the CQC weapons and I think that's a positive, I like it. Then we have developers actually listening to the community. I know they've not been brought in at launch, but there are going to be AI teammates. I don't know if I even want them in the game right now because I'm doing well and enjoying the game without them. But people were complaining about them not being included, so the devs went and did it. There were bugs in the closed beta, the developers did maintenance. Like every single thing, not every single thing, but a lot of the things we're complaining about, that's like a lot of people complaining about the same thing, the devs do seem to be listening. I don't know if that's going to last. I don't know if it's even going to carry on from now, but they have the ability to listen, and I'm just hoping it stays that way. Another thing I like is you can unlock every single skill in the game. You don't have to focus on getting Mark III weapon upgrades. You don't have to focus on getting extra perk slots. Eventually, from playing the game, behemoth defense areas, leveling up, even PvP missions, you can earn skill points and unlock every single thing in that tree. There are no bullet sponges in this game. It literally just relies on one-shot headshots. Unless there's a heavy. If there's a heavy, you have to put a couple of shots, or one shot to take the helmet off, one shot for the headshot to get the kill. Every other enemy in the game, as far as I'm aware, is a one shot to the head, which I think is a bonus because, as an example, Division 2, there's a lot of bullet sponges. It can become irritating having to put an entire mag into an enemy for them to drop, even if you're shooting them in the forehead. The ability to inspect other players. Anyone in the social hub, players on your friends list. If you go to the info tab, you can actually find out what they have on their build. I think that's a pretty cool feature. I love seeing it in other games. I love it in Breakpoint. It's cool because you can actually work out what might be working for some people, what's working for others. You can see what people are actually enjoying using in the game. Increasing gear score. After around 150 or so, it slows down. Some people would see that as a negative, but I see it as a positive because it slows down the ability to rush to the max gear score, which actually is going to give you more time to play the game. If you're sitting at, say, 120, you're still going to be going up fairly quickly. When you get to, say, 170, it's going to be even more of a grind, but you'll appreciate it more when you get the next weapon that's a 172, or if you get 171, you know that you're slowly making an increase to your gear score, and it keeps you, well, at least it keeps me encouraged to play the game, because maybe a few hours later I'll be sat at 180 or something. I like the ability that it seems to slow down, makes it a little bit harder, gives you more time to grind. I personally love grinding in games if it feels worth it to me. Some games there are grinds that are more tedious and daunting, but Breakpoint seems to have a good balance for their tier system with the loot and stuff like that. So I like the idea of it slowing down. The penultimate positive is the ability to see the max bonus percentages. If you go into your identity tab and you right trigger, you can see, for example, fatigue resistance goes up to like 100%. Maximum health goes up to a plus 200. You can actually see the max percentages of the things you can increase, all of the modifiers, which saves you the hassle of playing through the game to find out what the max is. Then the final thing is you have a big inventory space of 300 items, and that's been in there since the launch of the game. I like keeping my inventory clear. Doesn't matter what gun I end up using or what piece of gear, what rarity it is. If I find something that increases my gear score, that gets equipped, the other thing gets dismantled. Until I get to the point where I don't need so many parts, I'll start selling them, make a load of credits. But 300 items is a good amount for me. It's a fairly big inventory. So I've been sat here talking for a hell of a long time, but I feel as though I had to put depth into this one because it's a full game review. This is my final review for the game itself. If later down the line they release episode 1, I play that, I could possibly do a review. I doubt I will because I haven't done that sort of stuff for Division 2. But I mean, I'll always give my opinion and things. It just won't be a review type video like this one is. But again, discuss things nicely in the comments. If someone has an opinion and you don't like it, don't go giving them shit. Don't be abusive towards other people. We are a gaming community. We're supposed to work with each other to have fun on games, enjoy our experiences, because at the end of the day, doesn't matter if you hate it or like it, we pay money for these games, we should be enjoying them. But as always, let me know your thoughts and stuff as well in the comments. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.